Right, so we're out here with Luna, and today we're just going to be working on going up and down the spectrum of intensity in play. So I want to practice going in and out of like drive, so to speak. So Luna is a super drivey lab, and her on switch is like 6th gear, just jammed, and her other gears aren't necessarily as fluent for her. So she basically has like 0 and 60 and nothing in between sometimes. So I wanted to see if we could work on just opening up her window for play and drive, and then working on closing that window, having her get calm and settled, releasing her out of that, and then opening the play window again. That's going to help her practice giving her some emotional fluency in having calm behavior and being able to ask for that on cue. So another aspect that I'm not sure we'll be able to do in this particular session, but that I want to start to incorporate at some point, is being able to have her by the collar, where we would be potentially like hooking her leash on or taking her prong collar on and off while really exciting things are potentially happening around her, because she'll sometimes struggle with coping with the environment. For instance, when she comes to daycare and her friends are outside, she's just like over threshold at that point. She's like, oh, I got to get in there and play with my friends. And sometimes it's very hard to like get a leash on and off of her and get her equipment off. So I want to make sure that that's something we're also incorporating, giving her some skills and coping skills with, yeah, there's the potential for a really awesome reward is available, but you still have to be calm in order to get that. So she's kind of like preloading, and her brain is already accessing the dopamine of the reward before she's getting released to it. And that's just something that we can use training sessions to help get those muscles in her brain a little bit stronger when we're asking her to cope with exciting things like that. Actually, I wanted to see if let's see, where's my flirt pole? Here it is. This might be good. I want to get her really going. There we go. These are really fun. Watch her knees there. She's a tiny bit overweight, so I want to be mindful. If I'm doing any kind of fetch or with this flirt pole, I just want to make sure I'm not putting any extra stress on her knees, because she's at risk for knee injury for sure. Good job. Oh my goodness. So I'm gonna most likely need a slip leash on her, because I have a feeling if I close the window right now, she's just gonna kind of blow it off. I'm gonna set this down for 1 second. Thank you, sir. Woo! What's that? Good job. Thank you for not biting that. All right. Yeah, this flirt pole is perfect because I can kind of see her. She's actually made a lot of like little micro choices just now. Like she saw me grab the leash, and you could tell like her instinct was to like, oh, I'm going to bite that. She's just really excited. So this thing is really like kind of spinning her excitement dial. And so she's going to potentially have a little bit of a harder time doing obedience or making choices, because she's just really in like that impulsive mode right now. So I'm going to grab up this leash. I'm going to keep playing with her for just a sec. Maybe even see if I can get that foot from underneath her leash. Good job. I'm going to say, Luna, enough. So I'm going to give her a second to respond before I use a little gentle upwards pressure. Good. And I'm going to move this away. Enough. I'm going to reinforce my enough with the leash, but I want to avoid using the leash to keep her from getting to the toy. I'm just communicating that she's made a mistake. If I need to with the leash, I'm not using it to prevent her from getting to this thing. Good girl. So that's going to become dead. Good job. She's going to offer obedience to turn that game back on. But I'm going to kind of we're keeping that window closed. And so she's just going to learn to kind of become neutral. So right now she's like, how do I make that game turn back on? Can I just impulsively grab it? No, I don't think that's going to work with her. Should I offer obedience? Should I offer behavior I know that she likes? So she's offering down, which is settling behaviors. Yes, actually, that's something I do like. So you can actually see her. She almost did like a yawn just now. She is learning how to settle. And we call this posture facilitated relaxation. That's usually the stepping stones to getting our dogs to actually capture calm behavior. So we start reinforcing, I like to say, reinforcing the snot out of postures or positions that make calm more likely to happen. So down, and not just like a Sphinx style down, but like a down with our hips kicked out, potentially rolling onto our side, resting our chin. So you'll see dogs start to offer that. But as they spend time in that position, they naturally become a little bit more calm, and we start to capture and reinforce this act of settling and getting calm as well. So I'm going to get hands on with her. So I'm going to say, good job. She made a good choice there. So I'm going to do some conditioned relaxation with her. I don't have food, baby. Good. Nice. So our goal is to get her onto her side, all 4 feet touching, tail touching, head touching. But that's going to be potentially a little bit hard for her. I don't know when the last time we did like hands-on conditioned relaxation was with her. So yep, she's mouthy, and she's going to kind of get into like the rub my belly pose, which isn't quite what we want. So we're going to work through that. Ideally, I'd like her spine towards me. Yeah. And it's been a while since she's been mouthy with me. I don't know if that's still, I'm going to use some, she's chewing on my watch. So I'm going to use the leash as like a little bit of a firm upwards pressure when she starts chewing on me like that. Good. So I'm going to see if I can roll her onto her side. Good. Now, without pinning her to the ground, what I try to do is apply pressure on the body. So we want her on her side, and it's like she's kind of rapidly, no, thank you. No, thank you. Good. I'm communicating that I don't want her to bite my watch strap. I don't like that. I don't like her teeth on me at all. So I'm going to communicate that with my leash. And I don't need to be angry or anything like that. I'm just communicating, no, thank you. I don't like that. Good. That's like the most benevolent and fair way to like kind of stop a problem behavior. If you're open, there's like this taboo of telling your dog or your children, which is not my wheelhouse to even speak on, but there's just this social taboo of like correcting or using punishment. One, because I think we can sometimes overcharge the word punishment and make it seem punitive, like we associate good. We associate good punishment with the word punishment with something punitive and aversive and awful. But dogs really like clarity. They thrive on clarity, and to have no thanks. Good. To have the best relationship possible with your dog. No, thank you. Stop chewing on that. Good. No, thank you. Good. Giving them that clarity is going to be like, oh, thank God. Like, now that I know what you want, life is so much less stressful. So there's this element of stress that occurs when dogs just don't know what the answer is. Good, yawn. And that could be happening potentially right now, where she's like, not necessarily sure what this exercise that we're doing is, what the goal is, because she's so focused on turning that game back on. She's like, I don't want to be calm and do this thing where you're hands-on and whatever and putting pressure on my body. So going back to conditioned relaxation, I'm going to put pressure on her good body to get her in the position that I want her to be in. Good. So if she wants to tilt away from me, that's fine too. So she's got that hip kicked in. So I'm going to put a little bit of counter pressure on the elbow that's furthest away from me and kind of tuck that in towards underneath her body. And this arm's going to put pressure on towards the floor away from me. And I'm not going to actually push her into that position. I'm going to apply enough pressure so that I feel like and basically what she's going to do is yield to that pressure, or she's going to act squirrely and try to alligator roll out of this position. But either way, So the goal is to get her to feel this pressure and yield to it. And I want to use the least amount of pressure. So I think she knows what I'm asking for right now. We're just good. We're working through some like, I don't want to's. And that's another thing that this exercise works on. So if you lack the ability to help your dog in moments where they're over threshold and they're just like, I can't even hear you because this is happening. This is very good, important to work on. Good. So I was using a downwards leash pressure there to get her back into that down. Good. So this is, again, I always say, like, this is not the most fun thing we work on. This is working on you have to, you must. And I'm not using food and I'm not using bribes. This is something that she knows how to do. So that's an important part. So I'm not asking her to do something she doesn't know how to do, which could be very frustrating on top of how frustrating this is already. She absolutely knows how to respond to this pressure. And so we're just working through the, like, kind of just the frustration of her not wanting to or kind of consenting to that. So what'll happen is once we get her to roll onto her side, we're going to release her from this exercise and be done. Good. Good. Okay, perfect. So technically her general release word would allow her to be like, okay, as a general release word. That means like you're free. So it might be good to have a release word for Luna that means what we call a release to calm liberty. So I say something like break. For right now, we're just going to say okay, and then that means she can engage with whatever she wants. And then we'll just use the closed window word to end the game. But what we could start to do is have a word like break, which will release her from the conditioned relaxation exercise. But I would correct her if she were to start engaging with anything that would cause her to go into drive. So that means you can't bite things, you can't chew on things, etc. It can mean whatever you want it to mean, but that's what I would probably put as her parameters. Ready? Okay. Good job. So we're gonna do this one more time, another little cycle. She likes this flirt pole. The ball, the flirt pole, the ball, the flirt pole, the ball, the flirt pole. Yay! And I want to make sure that I could be a little bit more enthusiastic. I would say, like, we right now would want to be as like, wow, like this is her opportunity to let out her crazy yayas. But I'm a little bit muted in terms of how excited I'm being because I have a room full of crated dogs that are already like, wow, that looks really fun, and we're not part of that. So I don't want to make that any harder than that already is for those dogs over there. But I just wanted to point that out. So when you're doing this at home, this should be like the moment where, and the other thing too is I would want to make this game more about me and her versus Luna just like bouncing off the walls and engaging with everything but me. So I would really want this to be about like checking in with me and like looking to me to add another element of this fun game. Like, oh, you like that, but what if I do this? And we're doing this together. Whoa. Oh, Luna, get it, Luna, get it. Yeah, so the other dogs are kind of getting mad at me. Good girl, yes, ma'am, you got it. Yeah, so like making it about me and her. Good job. So I'm gonna grab up that leash. Good job. Oh, you're so strong, Luna. You're so strong. Good girl. Enough. Help her out. Good. Good job. Enough. Good. So we can start using a word in conditioned relaxation exercises. A word like easy. Easy. And so she'll hear that word and pair it with what she knows. She's already like associated this position and this like energy that I a lot of times there's a subtle shift of energy that dogs wow, that's a lot of hair in my mouth, that dogs will take in as a signal. So I might have just cued her for this exercise. Enough. Good girl. Enough. Good girl. So again, I'm just using the leash to back up my enough command. I'm not using it to keep her from anything. Easy. So anyway, yes, she has cute little feet. She's conformationally like a good looking girl. She's just got a little extra weight on her that I would, good girl, want to kind of keep an eye on. Good girl. Whoops. Easy. So eventually, like, as she's already got a good base, like, foundation for settling and getting calm on cue. Good girl. Good. Okay. Nice job. Okay. Yeah. What was I saying? So she's got a good baseline. She already, like, like at the beginning of this session, you saw her kicking out a hip and relaxing and yawning and like getting calm. So that part of what we're working on is good. The part that she's struggling with, ironically, was the have to part where we're kind of putting on pressure. It almost like if we didn't put pressure on her and just let her lay there, she would most likely become calmer faster but not she would become calmer on her own faster than it took her to do it when we like kind of put some pressure with her hands. So you would almost think like, well, why would you go through that process of oh sorry, we did release you. Working through that have to is important because there's a lot of points in time, and it also kind of holds hands with that issue of, when we're physically hands-on with her, like grabbing her by the collar when she's in that elevated state of mind and she struggles so hard with that, this is going to help with that. And at some point she gets into such an elevated state of mind that she starts making kind of poor impulsive choices, which she's getting better at. But a dog like that needs the ability for us to get hands-on and say, whoops, you're making some poor choices here. Allow me to help you come back down from that. And also, I'm not going to allow you to do that. She also has like this impulse. She's very like an almost OCD level impulsion to grab things off the floor when she's in drive. So again, I'm not gonna, if there's like things we don't want her, she especially loves to grab like leaves, which, isn't necessarily an issue, but if you're in an area where she's doing that to gravel or like trash or things we really don't want her picking up, we want the ability to prevent her from doing that, stop her from doing that, and not have her resist it so hard. So we're going to be more effective when we practice putting pressure on her, and she's going to have an easier time going, oh, I yield. Okay. I'll be more cooperative with you because I've worked through these times where I've chosen not to, but you remain consistent and it's something that you consistently follow through with. So I'm going to start to respond a little bit faster. And it allows us to teach her to respond to the least amount of pressure possible. So if we avoid using these exercises when she's in that moment where we need to get hands-on, or we need to like recontrol the situation for her, we end up having to use 12 times the amount of pressure to get her to comply or yield. So ideally, we want to teach dogs through duration that pressure is something that they need to yield to versus having to resort to intensity. So rather than make this, we'll kind of end that there. Woo! We're going to play a little bit more with her, but she's doing really great with this. I'm excited to see her do this in session 2. Good job, Looney Pants.